Good evening, Honorable Headmaster Dr. Jaspreet Singh. You're a very difficult act to follow, sir, but I'll try. Parents, alumni, students, it's a profound honor to return to the school as your chief guest on Founders Day. To me, it is not just a ceremony, it is a homecoming. These grounds hold memories of mischief, of friendship, of mistakes, and of lessons that have shaped my life. When I first got the invitation to be the chief guest, I must confess I was a bit surprised, for I was not exactly a model student. In fact, I had the unique record in my batch of holding a yellow card, a blue card, and a red card all at once. That's not the end. I nearly got expelled in my final year. After a midterm break misadventure, we were supposed to be trekking in the Shivaliks. But thanks to a batchmate of mine, the son of the Maharaja Patiala, we ended up at his palace in Patiala. We were seniors, so we were allowed to go without a teacher. We arrived at this amazing palace in the morning, and after a lavish lunch, for just lounging around, dare I say, chugging some beer, this scene I will never forget. One of the boys comes in and says, in typical DOSCO language, "We've been caught, yaar." Apparently, the Maharani promptly called the headmaster, Mr. J.K. Martin, and asked him, "Are there any holidays? What are these boys doing here?" He told her to send them right back. On our return, we were threatened with expulsion. In the end, I think we were spared because it was our last year. And he was a kind man, though he did inform our parents. And you can imagine the rest. From this escapade, I learned one of the most important lessons of my life. Trust is the hardest to earn, but once lost, it is a challenge to restore. Sir, and Anup, sir, I think if you'd known all this, maybe you would not have invited me. Sorry, it's a bit late, I'm here. But I must thank you for making me school captain in the school of 85J yesterday evening. Some consolation after 65 years. I didn't even make prefect. My other claim to fame came later. That was when the late Rajiv Gandhi became Prime Minister. He was my classmate. At the time, he was the grandson of the illustrious Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. I must say, none of us or the faculty paid any special attention to him. He was treated like everyone else. This is the school's greatness. No VIP culture, that's the way it should be, and I see that what the headmaster says, it is the same right now. And congratulations for that, sir. I last came to school to celebrate the 25th year of my class in 1985. I must say, I walked around the school. I am bowled over by the school, how the school has upgraded its infrastructure and the facilities the students enjoy. I feel like coming back to school. I presume the teaching curriculum has also kept up with the times. If I may add my two-penny bit, the way India is going, I think you must make your boys fluent in Hindi, totally bilingual. It's going to hold them good instead in future. Boys, you are the internet generation with the world of knowledge at your fingertips. And after hearing the brilliant debates last evening, I think you guys are much smarter than me. So it is pointless for me to give you any gyan as is customary of a chief guest. Let me tell you a little bit about my life's journey. Maybe you'll find something useful in that. Of course, everybody's life journey is different. My life has been a series of coincidences from the moment. I was not one of those kids who from the moment they were born and said, I want to be a doctor or an engineer. That was the respectable choices of my time. Perhaps today all you kids want to do is to launch a startup. Those days in the 60s, in India, socialism was in full bloom. Income tax was as high as 97.5%. There was gift tax, there was wealth tax, and there was estate tax. And nationalization of enterprises was a mantra of the day. My father sincerely believed that India would soon become a communist country. I was hopeless in the sciences, so medicine or engineering was out of the question. So he said to me, you must have a profession. Perhaps I think you should become a chartered accountant. Even the communists will need an accountant. Those are the days when we listen to our parents. So at the age of 16, after school, I was shifted off to London to do A-levels to get into the London School of Economics. The Doon school must have done good to me because I got in. It was not easy. I had to get triple A's in my A-levels. So thanks to the school, I did it. I got into LSE and then later became a qualified chartered accountant. Then I worked as an auditor in the UK for a few years. During my days at the LSE, I became interested in news and current affairs. And I realized that was my true passion, as I devoured the incredible variety of British newspapers and magazines. I hated accountancy, but the thought of becoming a journalist or being in the media was not an option, as I had not trained for it. When I returned to India, frustrated, I discovered that my father had started a printing company in partnership with a gentleman called Lord Roy Thompson, then one of the world's most prominent newspaper owners, barons. My dad was not in printing business, he was in film financing. But a chance meeting with Roy Thompson created Thompson Press. I joined the business utterly clueless about printing, but I learned on the job. After a few years, I was running the company and soon realized that the only way it could have sustainable profits was to have its own work. That's how I got into publishing and media. So now you see how dumb luck works? At the age of 30, I found my final calling, journalism. I just loved it. With news every day, every hour, every minute is different. It was exciting and intellectually challenging. Even my training as an accountant helped me in journalism. And I've worked with some of the finest editors in India. And my strength was questioning. Auditing taught me to probe until I got to the truth. I also brought the perspective of the ordinary reader. The fact that I was boss helped. Now that's the great moment in life when you discover the passion, the work you would do even if you weren't paid for. That is passion. Go for it. Find it quickly. And somehow you'll find to earn a living with it. But I can assure you, you'll be a very happy person. The India Today magazine, which most people associate me with, was born in failure. It was first conceived as a magazine for the Indians living abroad, but distribution was problematic. After a year, we abandoned the idea and released it in India instead. and then it just took off. The rest is history. The lesson here is that we learn from our failures more than from our successes. I believe being the victim of your own successes is one of the biggest failures in anybody. It breeds complacency and stagnation. It has always been my motto to look for the next best thing. As you heard, India Today magazine completes its 50th year at the end of this year. It has been the fountainhead of what are successes and failures followed in the India Today group. You heard some of them just now. So let me give you some kind of guiding principles or the things I followed during my life. The first one, I think, which has been emphasized in the school, is integrity. It has to be the cornerstone of everything you do. And being in media, integrity delivers credibility. And that is its most valuable currency. Number 2, relentless curiosity. Be a permanent student. Stay hungry for knowledge. To tell you, I practice what I preach. You just heard, at this ripe old age of 80, I went to Harvard for 1 year, lived in a hotel, attended all the courses I wanted to. It was that kind of program. It was one of the most memorable years of my life. Number 3, courage to fail. I've had many failures. I started a newspaper called Mail Today. It failed. A city news channel called Delhi Aaj Tak failed. E-commerce, Bag It Today, retail business, education portal, and so on. But the failure is not the end. It's but a learning. In this case, for me, it was stick to your core competence. The other thing I've done in business is follow the principle of follow the money. In my business, when advertising was shifting to TV, we started TV channels. And now it's moving to digital, and so we are in it in a big way. Number 5, look for the next big thing. In India, we are fortunate to be able to go to the future and come back. By this I mean, when you see the trends happening in the developed countries, they sooner or later will come to India. And I've benefited from this. However, the time lag now is becoming shorter. Number 6, as you must have heard in the debate, embrace technology. Since my Thomson Press days, I've always believed in taking on new technology as fast as you can. And you heard how we've launched India's only, or even the world's, AI anchor called Sana. She looks very good if nobody has seen her. People want to date her too, by the way. And she's growing in capability every day. Number 7, humility in success. No matter how big the magazine or channel is, remember it is a collective effort. It has been the India Today Group's philosophy from the start that no editor is bigger than its publication. No anchor is bigger than the channel. And I've worked with some of the most brilliant journalists. But the channels and the publications are always the real stars. The effort is to build institutions. Men age, institutions don't. Number 8, my media mantra, which I've followed. Produce great content, and even applies to the digital world now. Produce great content and the money will follow. I've spent my whole life in editorial. I've never sold an ad in my life, which is the lifeblood of the media industry. It is essential to, if you want to keep it independent, insulate your editorial from commerce. Number 9 is service. And Headmaster has talked about it a lot. I'm lucky I am in a business which I believe is a noble profession because it carries a social responsibility. Journalism has to be free of fear and favor, to be fair and independent. Because democracy survives only when citizens have the truth. Number 10, the last one, dignity. And I've heard this also here in the headmaster's speech and during my visit here. Always maintain your dignity and be graceful in your actions and behavior. Fortunes can be made and unmade, but reputations, once damaged, remain so. So although they are 10, they are not commandments. They're only beacons, but they have served me well. As I stand here in Chandbagh, let me tell all you boys, this is the best time of your life. Savor it. The school gave me resilience, curiosity, and the courage to stumble until I found my path. May you too carry these values with pride. Let them not be weights that drag you down, but wings that help you soar. Be restless. Be explorers, fearless in failure, faithful in trust, and generous in service. You, my dear boys, are a fortunate generation, born in a time of affluence and unprecedented technological change in a super interconnected world. When you are ready to leave this school, remember the world is your oyster. Go and conquer it. But come back. Believe me, there's no better country in the world than India. Thank you for honoring me. Thank you again, sir, for inviting me. I'm really honored, and happy Founders Day to all of you, 2025. Thank you.